CONG goes to polls on April 6th, that is Tuesday. And this time it's going to be an exciting battle between the two regional parties, the AIADMK and the DMK, because it is the first election that these parties, which are the regional players and the largest players in the state, will be battling it out without their stalwarts, Jayalalithaa and M.K. Karunanidhi. Interestingly, this politically elusive state of Tamil Nadu is also one where the national players, that is the BJP and the Congress, don't have much of a foothold. And hence, it will boil down to just the AIADMK and the DMK with a couple of spoilers. So in this video, I'm Dia Rekhi. I will be taking you through some of the important issues that have been discussed through this period of polls and what could happen going forward. So the polls this time are in a single phase for 234 seats. This particular time, we don't have the two stalwarts, as I mentioned, Jayalalithaa and M.K. Karunanidhi, and it's battle between AIADMK and the DMK. So as far as the parties are concerned, we have a lot of new players who are gaining ground. One is significantly Kamal Hassan's party, the Makkal Nidhi Mayam or MNM. And there are also a large number of other players who have been gaining stronghold this time, who are banking on the anti-incumbency vote that is supposed to be taken away from the AIADMK. So there's Kamal Hassan, of course. There was a lot of talk about Rajnikant, the actor, coming into politics, but due to his health issues, he never ended up taking the political plunge. The national parties don't have much of a foothold in Tamil Nadu. They kind of have to bank on the big players, that is AIADMK and DMK. So you see these large alliances. The BJP is aligned with the AIADMK and the Congress is aligned with the DMK, as they have for a while. But in between, we did see a little bit of friction between the DMK and Congress alliance, but they ended up sticking to the DMK and have decided to contest about 25 seats. The BJP is contesting 20 seats. Another interesting aspect of this election has been the Sasikala factor. So Sasikala was Jayalalitha's very close aide, and she was also considered to be someone who was the one who was calling the shots for the AIADMK for a very long time. And she gained a lot of prominence after the leader's death. So she was sent to prison for the disproportionate assets case, and she was just released very recently from a Bangalore prison and was supposed to be a big factor in this election. But all of a sudden, very recently, she announced that she is exiting public life and that she will not be in active politics. This also came as a surprise to her nephew. Her nephew, Dinakaran, who has his own party called the AMMK. And in many ways, the AMMK is another reason why the AIADMK is going to have a tough time this election, because the AMMK is kind of splitting the traditional AIADMK vote bank, because a large proportion of their voters, that is the AMMK's voters, are from the THEVAR community. And the THEVAR community is one of the traditional strong vote banks of the AIADMK, which is another reason why people believe that the BJP was very keen on kind of bringing the two parties together. However, it did not happen, as the current CM, Edappadi Palaniswamy, was not willing to have, he completely disregarded Sasikala and her close aides as being, not something to do with the AIADMK. They also lost out on a very large portion of another party, which is the DMK, which is run by Vijaykanth, the actor Vijaykanth, who was at one point the leader of the opposition as well. So they lost out on the DMK as an alliance partner as well, because there were differences in the number of seats that they wanted. So the DMK has aligned with the AMMK. So you see that the AIADMK this time has kind of alienated itself from even its loyal alliance partners like the DMK. An interesting part of Tamil Nadu politics is also the fact that there is a lot of this freebie culture that is rampant here. And this time has been no different, from promising washing machines, gas cylinders, to a large number of things. This time around, Karunanidhi, Kamal Hassan's party, has clearly said that they will not give any freebies.
Poverty has been very carefully preserved, and people are now slowly understanding. One thing is, in times of disaster, helping them, but creating a disaster like poverty and then pretending to help them, and that too with their own money, which is circulated, which depletes the exchequer's coffers.
In terms of election issues, you see an interesting aspect of it has been around the CAA NRC. So the DMK and Congress alliance has been opposed to this CAA. However, the AIADMK curiously put a clause in their manifesto which said they would work to revoke the CAA. And that is extremely odd. It also left their alliance in a very embarrassing situation because the leaders came out very clear that there is no question of revoking it and that the CAA is here to stay.
See, the CAA, already our government clearly we told that is the central government stand. So whatever the central government stand or our central party stand, that is my stand.
DMK has leveled against the AIADMK, calling this chief minister very corrupt and calling the entire administration of the AIADMK corrupt. So they are promising that they will, get rid of the corruption that is plaguing the system. And when it comes to the AIADMK kind of hitting back at the DMK, one of their largest things is that the DMK is one that is into dynastic politics. And they also add that it's not just the DMK, but their alliance partner, the Congress as well, which is into kind of promoting only their own, in a sense, the first family of their parties. And this time we also see Stalin's son, DMK chief Stalin's son, Udayanidhi Stalin, making his political debut from a very important constituency in Chennai, MK Karunanidhi's former constituency, Tepok. Another significant issue which has gained a lot of prominence right now is around women's safety and law and order. So this began with former telecom minister A. Raja making some derogatory comments about the CM and his mother. And it kind of spiraled into a very large issue where the AIADMK said that if someone can say this from the DMK, you can imagine how women will be treated if this government comes to power. So the women's safety angle has also turned into a very big issue. The DMK also saying, in fact, when I was speaking to DMK senior leader Kanimuri, she was saying that it's bitch coming from the BJP.
A party which runs the UP government, which has the highest number of violence against women. Nearly, it's touching 60,000 in 1 year. And we've seen what happened in Unnao, Hathras, and the kind of comments the BJP leaders make about women, all in public life. You should please go back and see the kind of comments the BJP leaders make. They say it is her fault. So who is against women?
So the minority and the caste factor in Tamil Nadu is another big and important issue that the elections bring out. So when it comes to the minorities, this time around with the AIADMK aligning with the BJP, there is a strong anti-AIADMK sentiment as a result of their alliance with the BJP. I've seen that in, say for instance, a place like Ramanathapuram, where I visited small pockets of the city, I saw that a lot of people who were traditional AIADMK voters and whose parents have been traditional AIADMK voters. They have gone against that grain, and they've decided to go against the grain and vote for the DMK, not for any other reason. They just feel suspicious of the BJP, and they feel that the BJP is out here to destroy Muslims. Traditionally, the seat of power kind of seesaws between the two large regional parties, the AIADMK and the DMK. This time, with a lot of other new players in the fray, we'll have to see how it pans out, and I will keep you posted on how things pan out post April 6th. The election results are expected on May 2nd, so stay tuned and we will bring you the latest from the Tamil Nadu election.